Hello, it is 11:16 p.m. here on June 14th, 2025 in Reisterstown, Maryland. I am your usual host, Dylan Lang. Episode 611 of Dylan Knows, Revenge of the Science. It is just about Father's Day. It is Flag Day today. Yesterday was Friday the 13th. Upcoming week, next Friday is my birthday. Next Saturday is the first day of summer. So next week should be very, very interesting. But yeah, so it is moving right along here. It's been kind of dreary out the last couple days. My son is finally out of school, so his summer vacation started on Thursday. I see my kitty right there. Hello there. Sitting right there. Watching me. So what are we going to talk about this week? Well, it was Friday the 13th this week. I'll talk a little bit about that. We had a lot of death this week, including a couple prominent ones. We had a lot of anniversaries coming up this week. We have a lot of science talk, hence the name Revenge of the Science. Lots of science stories, more so than usual, though. And the more and more I think about those, like a lot of them are the same, sort of have similar takes on it, but I haven't heard much about it. So I don't know if it's one of those weird advertising things on social media. I'm not sure, but I'm still going to talk about them because you never know what's going to happen, because the more science we talk about, the better it is, because science is being attacked right now by the morons who are in charge right now, who had quite a bad week. We're not going to talk about any of that because there's no reason to. But yeah, it is another last week of spring coming up. So yeah, it's not doing those without me yawning. Even when I don't do it at night, I'm still yawning. So I don't know. Just as you know, 2025 just has been kind of a shitty year so far, all things considered. I guess it could be a whole lot worse, but it is a whole lot worse for other people, not for me, though, because I have the white privilege, but not much I can do about that. So I guess we're just going to get right into it then. So they were going to announce that the Crystal Lake series was going to have a major announcement on Friday the 13th. Why not? It's Friday the 13th, the only one of 2025. June 13th is also Jason Voorhees' birthday. I think they said he's 79 years old, I think, something like that. The character's birthday it was. So it was kind of a big deal. But then in the end, all the announcement was some more casting. Devin Kessler, Cameron Scoggins, and Gwendolyn Sundstrom have joined the cast of Crystal Lake. It was a good week for Gary Oldman, or should I say Sir Gary Oldman, who was knighted, along with a number of other people. I didn't get their names. He was the only one that really stood out to everybody, but he is now officially Sir Gary Oldman. So that's a plus. Chad Powers teaser trailer came out. Part of the NBA playoffs. They showed that's Glenn Powell's new show. I think what it was basically they're kind of Eli Manning did a commercial once for ESPN, I think, where he disguised himself. I could have sworn it had Powers in his name, and he disguised himself, I believe, as a college quarterback to compete with the actual college quarterback there. And he was asking all kinds of questions and seeing where they were and seeing what the other students were and the competition and stuff like that. So it was kind of funny to see that. So I think this is kind of a play on that. This isn't in a bad way because Margaret Qualley and Patrick Schwarzenegger have found their own niche, but this is the movie of the Nepo babies. Patrick Schwarzenegger has joined Margaret Qualley in Netflix's new romantic comedy, Love of Your Life. Don't know the story about that, but you get Andy McDowell's daughter and Arnold Schwarzenegger's son together There you go. But Pat Schwarzenegger has gotten some good reviews from his White Lotus appearance, and Margaret Qualley is a Academy Award nominated actress. So no, she wasn't actually, but she is pretty darn good actress. Has been doing pretty good for herself. The pickup trailer, I think I talked about this last week, debuting August 6th on Amazon Prime. It's Eddie Murphy and I think it's Pete Davidson, who are bank guys who drive a bank truck that gets hijacked by the woman that Pete Davidson had a one-night stand with. And so they have to try to figure out how to survive without getting caught. Gatto is a new Pixar film about a cat in Italy indebted to a feline mob boss. It is a black kitty. So are you indebted to a mob boss in Italy, Pepper? It's going to be out in 2027. So it's one of Pixar's new films debuting here soon. So we got that coming up. Godzilla Burger is at a Tokyo restaurant. The person who announced it did not say what the burger was made of, but it had a weird, wild design. Marathon Oil Refinery in Texas City has caught fire. That's not a good thing when an oil refinery catches fire. Burning up all the oil in there is going to make things difficult for a lot of people here soon. Jason Kelsey, former Philadelphia Eagles center, announced this week that he believes he is showing signs of CTE, which makes a lot of sense being a center and being smacked around a little bit. So hopefully he can get his recovery from that and he'll be okay. I'm sure they're going to talk a whole lot about that on their podcast next week. So, or if they might have already done it this week, I'm not sure. So I don't watch their podcast anymore. I don't really do podcasts. Don't listen to podcasts. Always thought maybe this would be better as a podcast, but don't know how to do one. And I figure this is just easier. And I really don't put a lot of effort into this, obviously, as you can see. So the first of a couple of science things going on here. Scientists discovered 2.6 million golden eggs near an underwater volcano. No one knows what those golden eggs are from, what species, or what's going on without that. Orcas are back to wearing dead salmon as hats on their head. They haven't done that for 37 years, so all of a sudden they're going to do that. So there is actual pictures of dead salmons on orcas' heads, which is kind of weird. This is just delightful. Alaska gets its first ever heat advisory in their history. In recorded weather history, Alaska has never had a heat advisory until this week. Yeah, that's not good. That's really not good. Something non-science related. Texas man arrested for trying to save thick Latinas from ICE detention centers. That's just as funny. Dude trying to break into ICE detention centers to just save thick Latinas. It just makes me laugh. Major death this week. Brian Wilson, one of the founders of the Beach Boys, the one who wrote majority of their old school classics, passed away this week. Kind of a big deal about that. It was a good songwriter. Snoop Dogg B, heaven only knows. So Happy Together. No, that's the Turtles. What was I thinking of? Or something like that. I Get Around, stuff like that. So he's one of the main singers of that. And one of the main writers. So Brian Wilson passed away this week. So this finally opened wide, and I've been kind of excited to see it. And I went to see The Life of Chuck, Mike Flanagan's new film, starring Tom Hiddleston, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Karen Gillan, Mark Hamill, Mia Sara, and Jacob Tremblay, who's honestly only on it for a few minutes, but he's still up there. And someone I went to college with, but knew my sister a whole lot better than she knew me. And I was supposed to do a play with her, but I screwed up and didn't learn my lines. So the director fired me and hired somebody else to do it. Saida Ukolona, who's an Albright College alumnus, was really good friends with my sister. We're in the same sorority, so she knows them better than she knew me, but she still knew who I was. And she's been doing a lot of theatrical work in New York, and she's done some Law and Order and some other movies. But she is one of Mike Flanagan's favorites. He's popped her up in about two other of his movies and TV shows. She was in The House on Haunted Hill, which I did not know, or The Haunting of Hill House, excuse me. But she makes a very quick appearance in this movie, about 5 minutes into Act 3. But still, I saw her because I saw her name in Wikipedia and knew that that was the character she was going for. So that was kind of cool to see her. So kind of good to see that. It's a very unique film. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I liked it a lot, but not quite exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting a lot more Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston, who plays the aforementioned Chuck, really is only in a small portion of the movie, to be honest. It's mostly more about himself growing up and what happens after. So going to delve into some minor spoilers. So if you want to go into it straight, don't listen to this part now. Probably for about 10, 15 minutes. You can mute me for so much, and I'll maybe do one of these things where I'll try to do like a thing and say, hey, you can come back on, sort of thing. Based on a short story by Stephen King, and I think It Bleeds, which is one of his more recent short story collections. It takes place oppositely reverse chronology. Movie starts in Act 3, where Chuck is dying, and we focus on Chiwetel Ejiofor's teacher, and he and his ex-wife, played by Karen Gillan, who's a nurse, as the end of the world appears to be happening. It starts off first as a part of California falls into the Pacific Ocean after a massive 9.1 earthquake. Then the internet goes out, and then things just keep getting worse and worse. Wildfires start raging in the Midwest. Flooding happens in Florida, and across the world is being affected by all these disasters as well. All of California eventually falls off, and suicides go up because people are afraid it's the end of the world. The electricity eventually goes out as well. And it takes some time to get there, but Karen Gillan decides to call her ex-husband Chiwetel Ejiofor just to, feel something again, because she's afraid that the world is going to end, and he did too. So they end up trying to get back together for the end of the world. Matthew Lillard pops in for a quick cameo as well, has a really good monologue in there, which is pretty good. It's around the same scene where Saida shows up. She pops in just real quick to offer, some information. There's a sinkhole that's opened up down in their town also, so cars are being trapped down there. And meanwhile, while this is happening, billboards are popping up for saying, thank you, Chuck, for 39 great years. And nobody knows who this Chuck is. Television advertisements, radio advertisements, even when all the news stations go down, there's still commercials with Chuck. Thank you, Chuck. 39 years, and he just looks like a regular accountant. Nobody knows who he is. And then once the electricity goes out, his visage is shown in blue light on every window of every person's house, saying the same thing. Good luck, Chuck. Thanks for 39 years, stuff like that. So you're trying to figure out who this Chuck guy is. And so Chiwetel Ejiofor eventually meets back up with Karen Gillan, and they await the end of the world, and it ends. And then we cut to Act 2. Meanwhile, Nick Offerman is the narrator of the movie. We cut to Act 2, where we find Chuck 9 months before his death, where we get full-on Tom Hiddleston. Chuck died of a brain tumor. He is an accountant, and he's walking through this town because he's at a convention, and he just happens to hear what we call a busker, which is a woman who's playing the drums. And for whatever reason, he just starts dancing, and she starts playing music for him to dance to. Meanwhile, another woman who works at a local store near there discovers that her boyfriend is breaking up with her via text, so she's upset about that. She runs across Tom Hiddleston dancing and hears the music, and she starts getting into the music as well. And Tom Hiddleston sees this and convinces her to come out and dance with him. And the two of them do a fantastic dance sequence to the busker drumming the stuff. And it gives the busker a ton of money at the end. And so they decide to help her load her get her drums onto the van that's driving her around, and then they go and meet up at a little waterside place to chit chat. She gives them half the money that she made because she made so much, and they help make that much money. And then they sort of all go their separate ways because Chuck's married, so he's not going to be fooling around with the woman he's dancing with, and she's a little bit younger than he is anyway. And then we cut to when he's 7 years old. Act 1. And this is to me, I believe Act 1 is the biggest part of the movie, the longest part of the movie. So that's why Tom Hiddleston is barely in it, because he's only in really one or two scenes, and he's also on the billboards and stuff like that in Act 3. And then he's in all of Act 2, obviously, so that's his big scene. And then Act 1, he pops up in a real brief cameo thing. And that's about it. Other than that, it just focuses on younger Chuck, as we learn that his parents died in a car accident while slipping on some ice, and his mother was 7 months pregnant with his baby sister, who was named Melissa. So he ends up having to stay with his grandparents, played by Mark Hamill and Mia Sara. And Mia Sara is the one that ignites his passion for dance as she dances with him and teaches him how to do it. And then they watch musicals and Fred Astaire movies and stuff like that. And he gets to learning the steps. And then his grandmother dies. Meanwhile, his grandfather, played by Mark Hamill, is an accountant, and he's a good one. And they live in a Victorian house with a cupola. And the cupola has a door that goes into it and has a lock on it. And Mark Hamill says you can have free reign of the house, except don't go in the cupola. Of course, for a 7-year-old, 10-year-old kid, he becomes obsessed with that. But once his grandmother dies, things start going downhill a little bit. But then he's in 8th grade, and the 8th grade has a dance club that meets after school. So he decides to join it and ends up becoming the star of the dance club with a older Asian girl who tear up the dance floor. One night he comes back and sees his grandfather is passed out from drinking, so he sees the keys lying there, decides he wants to see what's inside the cupola, goes in to unlock the door, is about to open the door and look inside when the grandfather comes and pulls him away. Kind of throws him down the steps, and then he looks into the door and then sort of grabs his arm and then closes the door, and then comes down, sort of yells at Chuck, and then realizes what he did, and then it's real apologetic. And then there's a sequence where Chuck is really into dancing and he kind of wants to become a dancer, but his grandfather's like, no, that's not going to pay well, so you need to learn about accounting. And Mark Hamill has a fantastic monologue about math, which is really cool, which controls everything in the universe. It's a really good one as well. I'm not a big fan of math, but that's a really good monologue there. And then eventually he goes to 8th grade dance, and he and his Asian friend tear up the dance floor and do a great job. And then his grandfather dies a few years later when he's 17 years old. Now played by Jacob Tremblay. His grandfather has left him everything in the will, the house, and a substantial amount of money. And so he's finally has the opportunity to go see what's in the cupola, and discovers that his grandfather, who had been drunkenly talking about some people's names and talking about some wild stuff, was able to see how people were going to die before it happened. He saw about at least 3 or 4 people, including seeing his wife, Chuck's grandmother, her dying, but not knowing when it's going to happen. But he sees how it's going to happen. And when Chuck broke into the cupola when he was younger, and Mark Hamill, his grandfather, looked in there and grabbed his arm, he was seeing how he was going to die. So Chuck decides to go in to see what the whole big deal is, and he goes up and he sees himself as Tom Hiddleston dying in a hospital bed of the brain tumor. And he just basically says, "I contain multitudes," which is something that has been gone through the entire thing. And then the movie ends. So I know I just gave you the real brief explanation of it, but that's kind of what it is. That's what the movie is. It goes by extraordinarily fast. It's almost 2 hours long. It's an hour and 50 minutes. Didn't feel like it at all, which is good because you don't want movies to feel like, oh God, is this still going on? No, I still want a little bit more to go on because, I wanted to kind of figure out what was happening because I was still kind of a little lost about what was going on. So I've been thinking about it a little bit. And what's really interesting is that you start noticing things. And the reason why they showed Chiwetel Ejiofor and Karen Gillan first in the first story, as well as there's a girl roller skating and stuff like that. You see that first is because, and there's also a song that it permeates through that act as well. Because when you go back into the other acts, Act 2 and Act 1, all that stuff sort of resurfaces in that. So Chiwetel Ejiofor and Karen Gillan pop up when Chuck is 7 years old, almost 30 plus years earlier than when Act 3 was supposed to take place. And they look exactly the same. They're not any older. They look exactly the same as they did 30 years previous. And the little girl with roller skates who was in the Act 3 popped up in Act 2, which was, about a year earlier. And she still looks the same and was roller skating the exact same way. There's also a guy who was one of Karen Gillan's, also a nurse with Karen Gillan, pops up in that scene as well, just sort of in the background there. So you kind of look at that stuff as like, well, that can't really be true. So what's kind of happening? And that line, "I contain multitudes," which is from Walt Whitman, is a play that permeates itself, was in Act 3 and then shows up again in Act 1 as well. And in Act 1, young Chuck is the one who is listening to it from his hippie English teacher, who explains to him what it means. And basically she tells him that all your thoughts, everything you have between your heads, can create its own universe inside of you. That's why you contain multitudes, because you contain multitudes of people and experiences and stuff like that you remember. You might not know them very well, but you've run into them, you've seen them, and they become part of your memory. That's why basically when you're dreaming, which is basically a replay of your day, you see stuff or see people that you might not know, but you may have seen them during your day, because that's basically what your dreaming is. Your head, your brain has no idea how to process it. So it's replaying the day, but through a skewed sort of microscope, the way it is. That's what your dreams are. So basically what my interpretation of it is that Act 3, with the apocalypse and the end of the world happening right when Chuck dies, is because we are seeing the universe inside of Chuck's head, all the people that he's known before, all the situations in the neighborhood he's known. Because this just came to me, there's a sequence where Chiwetel Ejiofor is in his house and he goes up the steps and he looks at the top and there's a locked door up there. But we learn, and that's just like the one in the Victorian house that Chuck grew up in. But we learn in Act 1, I guess, Nick Offerman says that house was torn down and turned into apartments. So there would be no cupola and no door with a lock on it that Chiwetel Ejiofor could look at. So my belief, and this is, I think, is correct, is that Act 3, which is the first thing you see, so it kind of catches you off guard, and it's a wild sequence. It's really cool. Great music by the Newton Brothers. They're a great new scoring group, and I hope they get some Oscar nom because that's really, really good score. Act 3 is the end of the universe inside of Chuck, all of his memories, all the stuff that he has seen, stuff like that, because he's dying. And we just sort of see how things roll as we go back to Act 2 and Act 1. That's my belief. I might need to see it again. I probably won't see it again in theaters. I'll probably wait till it comes out on Blu-ray or streaming or whatever, and then watch it again there, because it's a really good movie. It's very well shot. As I said, the Newton Brothers, a fantastic new scoring duo. It's fantastic score. But it just seems so weird is that the story is about Chuck, but Hiddleston is barely in the movie. Chiwetel Ejiofor and Karen Gillan, I think, are in the movie longer than Tom Hiddleston is, actually. And I think we focus more on him as a kid. I think Mark Hamill's in the movie more than Tom Hiddleston is. But Tom Hiddleston is the star because it's his universe that we're looking at and how it builds and his mindset and how all that got sort of created inside of him and who he was. It seems like it's a whole bunch of disjointed stuff joined together in a film, but it's actually very well done. Definitely on par with a Stand By Me or Shawshank Redemption. Even the Green Mile was up there too with that too. Definitely worth your while to check it out, and we'll see if there's any Oscar love for it. That and Sinners are going to be the two to really look forward to see if the Academy is going to remember these two movies, because Life of Chuck did very well at Toronto International Film Festival last year. So it was getting a lot of buzz, but they didn't release it in time for last year, so they waited till this year to do it. So hopefully the Academy does not forget about The Life of Chuck nor about Sinners, and we get some of that coming up when Oscar noms hit in January 2026. Now, we still got a long ways to go, obviously, in film. We're entering the summer movie. We've been in the summer movie phase for a while. Not much else happening. On my birthday, we've got 28 years later. We've got Elio, which is a new Pixar film. Then we have Jurassic. July is going to be huge. I said Jurassic World, Reborn, Superman, Fantastic Four are all going to tear up July. And then there's just a myriad of different ones also. I saw a trailer for, and I talked about this one last, The Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey with Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell. I saw a trailer again before Life of Chuck. I really enjoyed that, and I might be one of the ones I might check out also. So there are original films being made, just a lot of people aren't seeing them, and Life of Chuck is one of those that definitely should go check out. So definitely check it out, and well worth it, and very well done, everybody. So you can come back now. I'm not talking about the movie anymore. I will be mentioning Chiwetel Ejiofor again really soon, though, because he's in another story popping up a little later on here. Jay Baruchel, one of the best names ever, Seidel Noel, Mark Blucas, Engum, and Agnes Mo have all joined the cast of Reacher Season 4. There's some really great names there. I like that Seidel Noel and Agnes Mo are both really cool. I need to write these down because I have a list at work of crazy names I see. Seidel Noel and, excuse me, Agnes Mo. So join the cast of Reacher Season 4. So pretty decent there. Don't forget that. So that's pretty cool. Science. Back to the Future Funko Pops for the 40th anniversary are coming up. The 40th anniversary of Back to the Future coming up in July. I'll probably be checking that out soon. There's also going to be, I'll talk about that in a little bit because I do have a story for that coming up here. Spaceballs 2. This is the big story. So this is the big story of the week. So Spaceballs 2, Josh Gad announced, I think it was last year, that he was writing a script for Spaceballs 2. And then that's it. We kind of, all right, we didn't hear anything else about it. Then this week, out of nowhere, we get our first teaser trailer for Spaceballs 2. Don't get too excited. Nothing has been made yet. But it was really funny, though, is that they did the Star Wars crawl. It's one of the funniest things you've ever read about how it's taken in 37, 38 years. There's only been one Spaceballs, but there's been all these Star Wars movies and prequels and sequels to prequels and all this stuff. It's hilarious. And then it goes into the Alien movies and the Predator. It's fantastic. So it's great to see that. And then it pops to Mel Brooks, who says he's really excited about bringing Spaceballs 2 to us in movie theaters in 2027. It is a go film. It is on its way, 2027 movie theaters. And then on top of that, this isn't mentioned in the trailer, so it has Mel Brooks in there. And it just sort of, ends with a shot of Dark Helmet's face, and it's sort of like a crack in it or something like that. It's like Spaceballs 2. Now, they better call Spaceballs 2 the search for more money. I don't think they're going to, but they really should. And that was the trailer. So I was like, okay, that's really cool. It's kind of neat. And then all of a sudden, after it was posted, all of a sudden there's all this listing of casting for it. So apparently there was probably a press release that came out with it that was not released to everybody else. So these other places released it. So Rick Moranis, who has taken a major hiatus from acting, is coming out of retirement for this movie because he loves Mel Brooks so much. He loves this movie so much. And he's in the perfect time for it. That's great. Bill Pullman will be returning to the role of Lone Star as well. And he'll be joined by his son, played by Lewis Pullman, his real life son. It's like playing like Star-Lord Supernova or something like that, some crazy name like that. And then on top of that, we're getting Mel Brooks is going to be back as Yogurt. Now, Mel Brooks is going to be 100 years old next year, I think. I don't think it's this year. I think next year he's going to be 100 years old. But he's going to be 100 in the next year or so. He still looks vital and stuff like that. That's really good. But undergoing that whole makeup and stuff like that. So what my anticipation is that he's going to be doing a riff on Yoda in Return of the Jedi, where Yoda's old and dying and he's in bed. I think Yogurt's going to be in the same shape as that. Now, no word if he's going to be playing President Scroob. He just said that he'll be returning as Yogurt, so nothing about President Scroob in there. And then on top of that, we learn, of all things, this is proof that this is real casting. They throw the name Keke Palmer in there, who is a great actress. More contemporary, more people know her now than they know. She's been cast in the role. So I was like, oh my God, okay. And then Josh Gad, of course, who wrote the screenplay, probably wrote himself. He's probably going to be Barf's son or something like that, because he fits the profile to be John Candy's character's son. So I'm assuming, I said I don't know. So we're not going to know anything, but it's a go film. 2027. Don't know who's directing it. I think Mel Brooks is too old too. It will be on Amazon Prime. And they've got a good cast so far. No word about Daphne Zuniga yet. Obviously, Joan Collins. Not Joan Collins. Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers and John Candy will not be in it because they've passed away. So don't know if anyone else from the series is going to be in it as well. So, but yes, Spaceballs 2 is a go film. It is a go for 2027. So back. So, oh, good. All right. So, it said unstable for a little while there, and then it went back to normal. So I'm just going to keep going because that unstable thing is no longer up there. So he probably skipped a little bit there, but so I'm happy about that. So that's fantastic. Paul McCartney has been cast as a voice in the animated feature called High in the Sky. He's going to be playing a walrus, and I think he's connected to it somehow. So that would make sense. Like he's a producer of it or something like that. New Squid Game trailer for the final season that comes out June 27th. So we have the new one about that. Matthew McConaughey has been missing in action for the last couple of years. Hasn't really done anything for a while. Well, we got 2 stories about him. The first one, he will be reteaming with his True Detective creator in a feature adaptation of the Mike Hammer book series. Yes, we've had Mike Hammer TV series. I think Stacy Keach played the role there, but we're going to have Matthew McConaughey coming into the role of Mike Hammer, which is a really interesting casting in my belief. And I think we'll the next Matthew McConaughey story is a little bit later down the road, so we'll talk about that again in a little bit. Darren Aronofsky is set to team up with The Rock for a new A24 film called Breakthrough. It looks like The Rock has finally decided to embrace his acting and is hitting more of the non-action, non-kid film sort of stuff. So that's pretty cool. Mike Flanagan's all over the place. His Carrie adaptation, which is going to be a TV series on Amazon, is said to start filming at the end of this month. So we'll be seeing more of that soon. Monty Python, The Holy Grail, celebrated their 50th anniversary a couple weeks ago. They'll be releasing a 50th anniversary 4K Blu-ray on August 26th. So I'll be probably picking that up as well. The Jonas Brothers have got their own flavor of friendly ice cream, and it's a collaboration with 3 different flavors for the 3 Jonas Brothers. This kind of thing. Spicy guacamole Pringles are back. What the hell is that? No idea what that says. So I don't know what that says. Miss Austen Miss Austen returns, is in production. I guess Miss Austen was good. It's a British thing, so they're doing a sequel to it. The Institute trailer, another Stephen King story based on his novel. They're making a limited series on MGM Plus, which I didn't even know was a streaming service, set to debut on July 13th. We got our first trailer for that. It looks okay. Nicole Kidman's all over the freaking place. She's signed on for a Prime Video series called Scarpetto, which is a thriller. So we'll be seeing some of that here soon too. Deshaun Lockman has been cast in Rob Savage's new film, along with Jessica Chastain and Jay Duplass. And I have no idea what that says, so we're just going to ignore that. So now we're going to go back to doing some more science stuff. Scientists have now discovered a new treatment that forces cancer cells to produce their own anti-cancer drugs against themselves. A Kentucky man who was arrested after releasing a raccoon into a bar that kicked him out. Shark falls out of sky onto a disc golf course in South Carolina. Not a big one, a little baby one. Nobody knows how that happened. A shark also bit the hand off of a 9-year-old girl in Florida. And I just saw that one. Where is it? The biggest great white shark on record in the Atlantic Ocean is on its way to the Carolinas. So we got the biggest great white shark just in time for Jaws' 50th anniversary also. Crazy. And some sad news. A drought occurred in India in 2019. So a priest decided to hold a wedding between 2 frogs, hoping to appease the rain god. And as soon as the wedding happened, the rain deluged onto the town for a few weeks, causing flooding. And so it got to be so bad that the priest had to divorce the frogs. Yep, true story. New dinosaur species was discovered. No name for it yet, but it is related to the T-Rex. Swedish scientists have also found a way to get rid of cancer by creating nanobots that can kill cancer cells. So there's that. Tombstone French fry style crust pizza will be coming to your grocer's freezer here. It's basically kind of a potato flavored crust. Sort of tastes like you're biting into a French fry crust, basically. They got 2 brands coming out. It's a bacon one and like a different one. So I'll look for those soon. Oh, Dove Dark Chocolate Pudding. That's why I couldn't read. It's also due out now. Death Betsy Jochum, the last original player of the Women's Baseball League that inspired the League of Their Own, passed away at the age of 104. Anniversaries, Rodney Dangerfield's family-friendly-ish Back to School debuted 39 years ago this week. The device of Stephen King, The Shining, directed by Stanley Kubrick, debuted 45 years ago this week. The Incredible Hulk, the second MCU movie that came out the same year as Iron Man, is 17 years old this week. Jurassic World, the first reboot of the Jurassic Park saga, debuted 10 years ago this week. Raiders of the Lost Ark debuted 44 years ago this week. I told you the story about this before, but I'm going to tell it again. For my birthday, since it debuted a week before my birthday, my family always said we could pick a movie and then go out to dinner. And the birthday person got to pick what movie and what restaurant they'd go to. And I couldn't tell you what the restaurant was. But my sister was dying to try to convince me to go see Raiders of the Lost Ark. So this is 82, so I was turning 9. And I didn't want to go see Raiders of the Lost Ark. I wanted to go see Cannonball Run or Cannonball Run 2, one of those two. So I chose that one over Raiders of the Lost Ark. True story. That was 44 years ago this week, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Alanis Morissette's huge 1995 hit Jagged Little Pill debuted 30 years ago this week as well. Still has some of the best, one of the best albums out there. Great music from Alanis. And finally, Predator debuted 38 years ago this week. And there was an author who did a fantastic breakdown of Predator where he discussed how Predator was the anti-action film of the 80s. And it's a really interesting listen. So it's pretty cool. The Man in the Basement trailer debuted this week. I don't know much about it, but oh well. There's apparently a handheld Xbox either in the works or already out now. First I heard about that, so that's kind of interesting. Pluto's hazy skies are making it colder. The James Webb Telescope has been checking that out and realized that the hazy skies it has turned Pluto much colder than it's supposed to be. J.K. Simmons has joined the Westies, the Narcos' creators, Peaky Blinders style historic drama. So he's perfect casting for that. The Back Rooms officially starts production this summer with Chiwetel Ejiofor from Life of Chuck and Renata Renaziv. It was supposed to be, I guess, Kristen Milotti was involved with that, but she turned it down. But Renata Renaziv did not. Chiwetel Ejiofor did not. They will be filming the Back Rooms this summer. Directed by Kane Parsons, who was the guy who created the the Scary Pasta or whatever it's called. That is the Back Rooms. Violent Night 2 is set to debut on December 4th, 2026. So that means I'll be filming here soon. Jaws' 50th anniversary is on my birthday this year because it debuted on June 20th, 1975. So NBC will be airing it on their network with a special new introduction by Steven Spielberg. I will probably be watching the DVD on my birthday and probably commenting it on one of the social media sites. So there's that. Whale Fall with Josh Brolin starts production. I didn't know Whale Fall was actually good. I knew it had been that a production company wanted to make it a movie, but I didn't know it was actually going to full production, but it is. And Josh Brolin is in it. That's awesome. Whale Fall is basically a novel about my son, which I don't think he ever read. And I kind of wanted to read it, so I might steal it from him and read it. But basically, it's like The Martian, except instead of one person being on Mars and trying to survive by himself, this man gets swallowed by a whale, and he has to learn how to survive inside the whale without getting eaten and or digested, I should say, and to escape it. So they're making a movie of it, and Josh Brolin's in it. That's really kind of cool. The luscious Kate Beckinsale is suing the producers of her Canary Black film. Don't know what the reason is for it, but hopefully she will win. A Mr. Miracle animated series based on the Tom King limited series, which is brilliant, is going to be coming here soon, probably to, what is it called? HBO Max or whatever it's called now. We got our first look at Nicolas Cage in the John Madden biopic Madden. He looks pretty decent, actually, to be honest. And him and Christian Bale together, that should be a pretty decent film. Vanessa Kirby and Sebastian Stan are set to star in Ruins, based on a novel about white privilege. The Rings of Power Season 3, the Lord of the Rings prequel, starts production now. Dougray Scott and Diego Collins have been cast in Her Private Hell from director Nicholas Winding Refn, who I recognize the name, but I forget what they directed last. Matthias Schweigator and Ruby O have been cast in the Netflix thriller Brick. Rachel Brosnahan, who is playing Lois Lane in the Superman movie coming up here in July, has been cast in season 2 of Presumed Innocent. So they're basically going to be taking a different sort of court case and putting it into the Presumed Innocent stuff, because Presumed Innocent is based on a novel by Scott Turow, I think. And it was made to a movie with Harrison Ford, and then Jake Gyllenhaal made the first season of it. Or was it Ryan Gosling? I think it was Gyllenhaal who did it. And then I was like, well, that was it. I mean, that you can't really expand the story that much. So it looks like they're going to be just taking a different sort of similar story and having Rachel be the star of it and making that season 2 of Presumed Innocent. Jonathan Davis, with an extra S, has been cast as Snoop Dogg in a biopic about Snoop Dogg that I think Snoop Dogg is producing. So he's got a say in it. Doctor Who is getting an animated series, which makes a lot of sense that they haven't had one before. Frailty, Bill Paxton's fantastic horror thriller directorial debut, will be getting the 4K treatment and will be released on July 15th. The Diplomat Season 3 trailer with Kerry Russell popped up this week. Little House on the Prairie's new series starts production this week. In Your Dreams, Netflix's new animated film about lucid dreaming gets a first trailer. It looks like a Little Nemo and Slumberland sort of film, but with a brother and sister combo going through their different dreams and taking on a dream demon sort of thing. That's set to debut November 14th. Always love hearing about stuff that's coming in the fall because getting ready to enter a shitty summer season. Superman sequel already in the works. Obviously, it's going to make a shit ton of money. It's already on par to make close to $200 million its opening weekend, so that's pretty decent. It is Father's Day, so the EC Diner, which I don't think is local but is around here, but I just had to mention this, has created a Dad Bod Shake. It's a peanut butter milkshake with a Nutella and butter rim, so Nutella and butter and bacon on the rim, chocolate peanut butter cake slice, mini Reese's pancakes, peanut butter cupcakes, Reese's peanut butter cups, and extra bacon along with whipped cream have all been added to this massive dad bod milkshake. There's just a little bit too much peanut butter for me in that. And that just seems like a little too much for me. A man was gored by a Yellowstone bison after he got too close to it. That's why you have your warnings. That's why you cannot cut the funding to the National Park Service, because they didn't have enough people to warn people. People are stupid enough to still try to get close to bison and buffalo. They ain't going to take your shit. They're going to gore the fuck out of you. So you just get the fuck out of there. Robert Eggers is set to write and direct a new version of A Christmas Carol with Willem Dafoe. That actually sounds pretty decent. I want to know what Robert Eggers is going to do, because he's just considered to be this dark sort of horror sort of director, and to take and maybe do a different take on a Christmas Carol with the ghosts and his horror aspect and stuff like that, and to get Willem Dafoe to play Scrooge. That's even cooler, man. That's looking good. So we'll see what happens. So he's got that coming up. He's also got his werewolf movie coming up here soon too. So we got a couple of that going on. Hershey's is doing a collaboration with the Pokemon. You're going to get 12 different Pokemon bar covers. So like the Hershey's wrapper will have 12 different Pokemon on it. But here's the cool thing. The Hershey's Kisses are going to have 151 different Pokemon on them, which is the first gen, I think, was about 151 characters. So it'll have one for every single one. They're going to have a special collector's bin if you want to collect all of the Hershey's Kisses with all the Pokemon on it. So you'll definitely be seeing that soon, I'm sure. India plane crash land killed 240 people, but miraculously one person survived and is now in the hospital right now, still alive. Alligator catfish hybrids are being made in an Alabama lab. I have no idea why. That seems rather odd. And science has also created robots to clean out cholesterol, which is kind of a really good idea too. Anniversary, Steven Spielberg, probably one of his better non-dramatic movies, E.T., debuted in 1982. That makes it 43 years ago. Deaths, Lauren Ruck was the head of content on HGTV. He died of leukemia. Amanda Lewis, a very popular MTV VJ and talk show host back when they had VJs, died at the age of 52, which is going to be my age on Friday. And Pik Sen Lim, a Doctor Who actress, passed away this week as well. Under a microscope, grass looks like it's smiling when it's hit by rain, according to scientists. See, there's a lot of science stuff. That's why it's called Revenge of the Science. Oh, napping during the day slows brain aging up to 6.5 years, which is awesome because I nap during the day all the time at work. Out of my lunch hour, I always take a little power nap there. And then when I get home, I usually take a little nap here and there too. So it's good to know that that is going to help maybe stave off any Alzheimer's or whatever I may have. So that's good. We get some more casting of the Harry Potter TV show. Johnny Flynn is set to play Lucius Malfoy. And Jason Isaacs has already given his okay about that. Not that he needed to, but he said, I'll just do it anyway. Belle Palty is set to play Petunia. Daniel Rahi is set to play Vernon. Kathleen Parkinson is set to play Molly Weasley. Sienna Musa is set for Lavender. Leo Early is set to play Seamus. Bertie Canal is set to play Cornelius Fudge. Alessi Liana is set to play Pavardi. And Lox Pratt, another good name. I need to write that down too. Lox Pratt is set to play, of all people, Draco Malfoy. Lox Pratt, another awesome name. So they're moving right along. But that's kind of interesting about that is the cast. The reason that they cast Lucius Malfoy, that they cast Cornelius Fudge, and they cast like Lavender and Pavarti as well, who really did not make appearances in the first Sorcerer's Stone. They made more of a appearance in the second stuff, particularly Lucius. Leads me to believe that potentially season 1 of the Harry Potter series might be sort of a mashup of books 1 and 2. Don't quote me on that. Or they're just adding new stuff, or they just want to have the actors in place so they can go right on after they finish season 1 to do season 2. Not sure, but there it is right there. Don't know how they set this up, but it did. ChatGPT was defeated by an Atari 2600 at chess. Don't know how they set it up. Don't know if I want to know how they set that up, but they did, and Atari 2600 beat ChatGPT. This is pretty interesting. Jack Lowden is set to star in Tornado, a Scottish samurai film. Not a Japanese film, samurai film, a Scottish samurai film. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Scottish samurai film being that it's being filmed in Scotland, but it's a samurai film, or it's about a Scottish samurai. Don't know, but either way, that sounds freaking awesome. Yahya Abdul Mateen II has joined a David Fincher sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I didn't know that Stranger Things is getting an animated series. Maybe I did. It's actually, I think, out now on Netflix. Vincent Cassel and Jean-Francois Richard are set to be in Netflix's Quasimodo. Didn't know they were doing a Quasimodo, but okay. The Last of Us has been renewed for season 3. Fudge Flan is Ben & Jerry's new flavor that sounds absolutely delightful, and I can't wait to try it. Wendy's Baconator Cheez-Its are going to be opening up here soon. Hello Kitty birthday cake cookies are also set to be debuting here soon, too. Gareth Evans is said to direct a remake of a Japanese film called A Colt Is My Passport, which is about the Colt gun. And that's interesting. That's kind of maybe what you want to do with a film, is maybe find a film that either no one's ever heard of before and remake it, or a film that had potential, remake it to give it the potential it's supposed to have. We got our first, we got a new Superman teaser. Again, the haters came out of the woodwork for it, but there are also many defenders who came out and absolutely trashed the haters. So that's good. The highlight of this trailer has Superman and Krypto flying up and taking out, and then Superman punches his face. His teeth come flying out and hit the camera. So that's kind of a neat shot. And we also get another shot of Guy Gardner in there as well. So that's pretty good. And a little bit more metamorpho, I think. We get a lot more Lex in this one. So this was more of a Lex-centric trailer. The last one was more of a Lois one. So this is kind of good. It still looks good. Still looks phenomenal. And fuck you haters. It's going to be a good movie. Fucking Snyder, bro. Fuck bags. Abraham's Boys, a Dracula story trailer, which is about Abraham's Van Helsing's sons fighting Dracula. Foundation season 3 trailer came out this week. If you're into that, there you go. Godzilla -1 pop is set to come out here to join the already multitude of Godzilla pops out there. They're trying to do one for every movie, so that's really cool. So that's neat to get a Godzilla -1 one. A 3.4 earthquake hit Manhattan Beach, off the coast of Manhattan Beach in California. Kate Siegel and Rahul Kohi are set to join the Carrie series. Not surprising. They are Mike Flanagan regulars, and Katie Siegel is actually Mike Flanagan's wife. And both of them were in Life of Chuck as well. A rare frog with a genetic mutation that causes his eyes to develop inside his mouth. They have a picture of it. It is wild. So there's no eyes on top, but when he opens his mouth, the eyes are in the back of his throat. It's crazy. It's absolutely wild. A rare white orca was spotted off the Japanese coast. And Starbucks will pay somebody $136,000 to travel the world and post about coffee on TikTok. Sounds like a really freaking good job. Deaths this week: Douglas McCarthy of Nitzer Ebb died at the age of 58. I guess he was a musician. Nitzer Ebb, I've heard of them from college radio, I think. Beloved snow leopard Kamita died at the Los Louisville Zoo. Chris Robinson, a soft rock. No, I'm sorry. This is a General Hospital actor. General Hospital actor passed away this week. Iliad Kipsang, age 28, was a marathon runner who died of heart failure, which is very ironic because he was probably in the best shape of his life, but he still died of heart failure. And then we have our last two big deaths. Harris Yulin, character actor who was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Ghostbusters 2, and also a multitude of other stuff as well. Let's look at his. You would recognize, he is the definition of a character actor, and you would recognize him if you saw him. All right, his filmography. Scarface, the one with Al Pacino. Fatal Beauty. Ghostbusters 2. Clear and Present Danger. Stewart Saves His Family, The Babysitter's Club, Cutthroat Island, Looking for Richard, Loch Ness, Multiplicity. He's the guy who was the doctor who gave the cloning stuff. Murder at 1600, Being, Cradle Will Rock, The Hurricane, The $1 Million Hotel, Perfume, Rush Hour 2, American Outlaws, Training Day, Game 6, The Place Beyond the Pines, Norman. And then television-wise, he was on Kojak, Barnaby Jones, Ironside, Little House on the Prairie, Beretta, SWAT, Dynasty, Most Wanted, Wonder Woman, How the West Was Won, he was in 6 episodes. Meeting of the Minds, he was in 4 episodes. As the World Turns, he was a regular on the soap opera. Cagney and Lacey, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Law and Order, he was in 2 episodes. Truman, Frasier, These Walls Could Talk, Murphy Brown, La Femme Nikita, Buffy Vampire Slayer, The X-Files, 24, he was in 9 episodes of that. Third Watch, he was in 2 episodes of that. Entourage, Damages, Pan Am, Nikita, he was in 3 episodes of that. Blacklist, Veep, he was in 2 episodes. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, he was in 5 episodes. Ozark, he was in 12 episodes. Billions, he was in 3 episodes. The New Murphy Brown, he was in 2 episodes. And that's it. So Harris Yulin has done a lot. Character actor. You would recognize him if you saw him, pretty sure. And writer Frederick Forsyth, mostly known for The Day of the Jackal, passed away as well. Anniversaries. Tales from the Crypt debuted in 1989. I remember watching that as in 1989. I guess that made me 19, 18, 16 years old. It was fantastic. It was a great series on HBO. So 89, so that was 30 years, was 19, right? Yeah, so it's been about 36 years, something like that. Chronicles of Riddick was 21 years. Jurassic Park, the original, debuted 32 years ago this week. Ferris Bueller debuted 39 years ago this week. Rosemary's Baby debuted in 1968, which makes that close to 50, almost 60 years. So let's see, 57 years ago. So there we go. Is that everything? Yep. Finally on the last page. We got a lot of announcements on our anniversaries on this last page. This will be my last one. The Rainmaker is set for August 15th on USA. The James Gunn Superman movie does have a post-credit sequence, so be sure to stay for that. Michael B. Jordan wants to direct a live-action anime film. We've actually kind of known about that, but we don't know which one it is yet. James Gunn has also said a Wonder Woman movie is being written as we speak. Peter Sohn, who directed Elementals for Pixar, is set to direct Incredibles 3. Matthew McConaughey's first movie in a while called The Lost Bus with America Ferrera gets their first trailer. Ghoulies Go to College gets a Blu-ray release. Yay, Ghoulies. The live-action Legend of Zelda movie has been delayed for a little bit. Ben Stiller is set to direct a Twilight Zone movie. That's kind of interesting to see how that turns out. Nobody Wants This Season 2 is set to debut October 23rd on Netflix. We get another look, our first full trailer of Eddington. It's a Western that takes place during COVID times in 2020, which has Sheriff Joaquin Phoenix squaring off against Mayor Pedro Pascal in a high-stakes, high anger, highly violent 2020 era battle in the small Western town during COVID. Looks pretty interesting, actually, to be honest. A 2.22 mile long tornado hit Texas earlier this week. They talked about that last week, but 2.22 miles is insane. The zebra that was on the loose I talked about last week has finally been caught. Allison Oliver and Yura Boniva is set to be in the movie Dennis, which will be Emily Mortimer's directorial debut. Iris Apatow, Judd Apatow's daughter, set to join season 3 of Tell Me Lies in a recurring role. Now science. Oh, Noel's taking a shower. Okay. I see the water running. I'll talk about that. Liquid metal robot melts its cage and reforms itself, basically creating the T-1000. In 2012, a family was cleaning out a house, discovered 700 mint condition baseball cards from 1910. I think the one they got was a Honus Wagner, was sold for like $239,000. They got. A drug for regrowing teeth is in the works right now. And the necro spider, dead spiders are being brought back to life using mechanical stuff to help them run things, which is weird. Death Sly Stone of the family Stone, musician, passed away this week. Pippa Scott, an actress, died this week as well. Norma Burton, the TikTok grandma, died at the age of 91. And that's it for that. Anniversaries. Space Camp debuted 39 years ago this week. Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl debuted 20 years ago this week. Fables of the Reconstruction, REM's album debuted 40 years ago this week. Speed debuted 31 years ago this week. Congo 30 years ago this week. The Rock 29 years ago this week. Con Air 28 years ago this week. The Mummy with Tom Cruise debuted 8 years ago this week. Gone in 60 Seconds debuted 25 years ago this week. I forget. Wayne Levis, a soft rock singer, passed away this week as well. Bat Dance from Prince debuted 36 years ago this week. Chapter 3, Season 3 of Fortnite Vibin debuted 3 years ago this week. And the Tony Awards happened this week. I wasn't going to do this, but I may as well just check it out. It's not fair for me to do that. Tony Award winners 2025. All right. Best play was English. I'm sorry. Best play was Purpose. I'm sorry. Best musical was Maybe Happy Ending. Best revival of a play was Eureka Day. Best revival musical was Sunset Boulevard. Best performance by an actor in a leading role in a play was Cole Escola for Oh Mary. Best performance by an actress in a leading role in a play was Sarah Snook for The Picture of Dorian Gray. Best performance by an actor in a leading role in a musical, Darren Criss in Maybe Happy Ending. Best performance by an actress in a leading role in a musical, Nicole Scherzinger for Sunset Boulevard. Best performance by an actor in a featured role in a play, Frances Ju from Yellowface. Best performance by an actress in a featured role in a play, Carrie Young in Purpose. Best performance by an actor in a featured role in a musical, Jack Malone, Operation Mincemeat, a new musical. Best performance by an actress in a featured role in a musical, Natalie Venetia Belcon for Buena Vista Social Club. Best direction of a play, Sam Pinkleton for Oh Mary. Best direction of a musical, Michael Arden for Maybe Happy Ending. Best book of a musical, Maybe Happy Ending. Best original score, Maybe Happy Ending. Best scenic design of a play, Stranger Things, The First Shadow. Best scenic design of a musical, Dane Laffrey and George Reeve for Maybe Happy Ending. Best costume design of a play, Marge Horwell for The Picture of Dorian Gray. Best costume design of musical, Paul Tazewell for Death Becomes Her. He also just won the Oscar for Wicked. So he's on his way for an EGOT. Best lighting design of a play, John Clark for Stranger Things, The First Shadow. Best lighting design of a musical, Jack Knowles for Sunset Boulevard. Best sound design of a play, Paul Arditi for Stranger Things, The First Shadow. Best sound design of a musical, Jonathan Deans for Buena Vista Social Club. Best choreography, Patricia Delgado and Justin Peck for Buena Vista Social Club. Best orchestrations, Marco Paglia for Buena Vista Social Club. So there's your Tony Award winners, and that's all we got. Final story this week on this Father's Day. It is officially now Father's Day. It's 12:28 a.m. on June 15th, Father's Day. The Baltimore Ravens, my football team, have been officially recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records, Netflix, ESPN as the best run, most connected football program in the world, basically. So that's fantastic for Baltimore Ravens fans. So that's all I got for this week. And next week, episode 612, is my birthday weekend. So we'll talk about that. Summer starts. Blech. And I think I'm going to go see the Phoenician Scheme later today. So I'm going to have a review of the Phoenician Scheme coming up here too. And then we'll see what else happens this week. It's going to be kind of a boring week because I've got all my work done for the most part. So now I'm just sort of waiting for stuff to get done so I can pack it up. So we'll see what happens. All right. Before I go, I'm going to test something my friend Mr. Gary suggested. So let's see if this works out. He suggested for me to get more views, stuff like that, to do what every other person on YouTube does. Let's go ahead and try it. So if you like what you saw here, please like and subscribe and also share to everybody. And I will try to do the same. I usually do, but it takes some time to do that. So yeah. Go ahead and do that, and also put up the notifications when I'm coming on to do stuff. Because not only do I do this show, I do my list show, I do my interviews with myself sort of show, and I do some other little things here and there. So I just get myself more motivated. But we're getting closer to summer where I tend to be less motivated. I remember 5 years ago during COVID, I did not do any shows for about the whole length of summer, probably about 2.5, 3 months. But that's a different time. I am fully planning on doing a show a week as usual. I've got some interesting stuff coming up. So I've got this week is my birthday week coming up. And then next week is just another the week after that. It's just another week after that. But then the week after that, my family has gone away for camping for the whole week. I'll be taking off of work for that. And I'll be watching tons of movies that I haven't seen before. So I'll have a lot to say about that. Plus, since I have some time, I might be doing more list shows and more stuff come down the line here in the next couple weeks. I know for a fact that I plan on doing I'm going to try to do it on my birthday, but we'll see how things go. I want to do a top list of top Steven Spielberg movies for Jaws' 50th anniversary. That's something I've been planning to do for a while. So I have the list. I think I have it written down. I just have to refine it and refine it a little bit to see if I got the rankings up there or not. But yeah, so I've got some stuff coming up. So again, if you want to see more of this, if you want to do that, like, subscribe. Please like, subscribe, share, and put those notification button on so that you can see me when I come back on. So thank you, Gary. We'll see if this works. And enjoy your 24-hour Le Mans. I think I should be just about getting ready to be over here soon a little bit. So we'll see. And I'm just about ready to get out of here. So thanks again for watching. Definitely go see Life of Chuck. I'll let you know about the Phoenician scheme if I end up deciding to do that tomorrow or later today for Father's Day. We'll see what happens. All right. Signing off here at 12:30 a.m. on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. And enjoy your day.